Before we go further into the consequences of demographic winter, let us first explore the causes. How did we get here?
Why did fertility decline so much? I mean, that's the $64,000 question, as we say. I wouldn't say we know all the reasons by a long shot, but I think we know, and evidence suggests some of the very important reasons. One is the growing value of the time of mothers, working mothers, educated mothers.
The more successful women become in the workplace before they have their children, the higher the opportunity costs when they have their kids. So it's harder to leave work.
So they don't want to spend as much time having children as participating in the labor force and doing other things. That's clearly been important. Well, the causes, you can see how some of the causes are very closely related to the economy, and those are not necessarily bad factors, like the growing education of women, very good. Women now have higher education than men in the United States. Many more women are enrolled in college than men, so that's one consequence. A second very important factor, richer countries have more money to spend, but they also have greater aspirations because they're in richer economies. They want to spend more on themselves, adults, and they want to spend more on their children.
Affluence doesn't just mean that we buy more stuff. It means that we also want to live our lives as individuals as opposed to being in large groups.
So what they do is, they have fewer children and invest more in each child.
When you look at all of the social science data, there seems to be one predictor that explains fertility levels better than any other, and that is desired family size, as expressed by women who are so surveyed.
Economists tell us that as countries and individuals become prosperous, they tend to desire fewer children.
I think the sexual revolution is the most profound event of the 20th century, quite honestly. It may even be the most profound event of modern history.
There definitely was a sexual revolution, and you can see it very clearly in women's reports of their lives. If you talk to women who came of age in 1960 and later, a much higher proportion will have been sexually active before marriage with somebody they did not marry.
There's no denying that once we began to travel down the road toward gender equality and all the other changes associated with it, including birth control, everything changed.
Women who came of age after about 1960 have more partners, are more likely to divorce, more likely to have worked than women who came of age in the 40s, the 30s, 40s, or 50s. Behavior changed. The world changed in ways that affected the choices people made about sex and marriage and childbearing and work.
And most notably, I believe, the family changed.
For multiple reasons, social scientists believe that the sexual revolution had both direct and indirect effects on fertility decline.
The one thing that's least discussed in our nation is the rising rate of cohabitation, non-marital cohabitation. Cohabiting couples tend to have fewer children than married couples, and it also pushes the age of marriage up and up. And one of the biggest reasons for the low fertility is people have children too late.
There's some research that suggests that the change to no-fault divorce led to an increase in the divorce rate of something like 20%. The divorce revolution has really meant that neither men nor women can count on their spouse being there next year. The risk of divorce that a couple faces decreases the chances they'll have another child.
One final cause. Various assumptions had huge impacts on the number of children that were desired. We will look at one of those.
I think it's